I think about
Regular guy with a cool job that God loves for some reason. Welcome to the Steve Marston Show, a daily journey in learning how to live more like Jesus, conversations with those that God is working through, and dad jokes. It's the most unique show you'll hear today. Now, here's Steve.
All right, yip, yahoo. Welcome in. It is day 2 of our pre-board special here with our buddy Scott Wilder from Preborn. We've seen a lot of folks here, especially today, jump on board to help out with this amazing cause to help pregnant ladies not feel fear anymore, to be able to know everything they need to know so that they can make the right decision as far as themselves and their babies. Here's the number that we want you to keep handy, as we're going to be referring to it throughout the entire program today. We want you to make sure that you write it down and use it. 833-850-BABY, 833-850-2229, or look for that red ribbon just at the very top of the page at am630theword.com. And we've got a new way for you to give here as well. If you're watching on our live stream, and we're on platforms all over the place, we've got a little QR code right there behind me and Scott, and you can click on that with your camera, and that'll take you directly to where you need to go. So welcome in, Scott. Let's get going with this second day.
Yeah, it's good to be with you, Steve. And, yesterday, maybe you heard about it, thought about it, prayed about it, talked about it, but you didn't do anything about it. Today, we always say day 2 is the day to do. This is the day where we turn all that motivation and education into some participation, and so that love becomes a verb today, something we do, not just a feeling that we have inside that results in nothing on the outside. So you call the number at 833-850-2229. Join us in saving 100 babies today. Every $28 can help save one. $2,800 can help save all 100. Maybe you want to do the $15,000 ultrasound machine. That's a possibility if you're led to do that and blessed to be able to do that. That would save literally thousands of babies for years and years to come. But for the rest of us, even $28 a month, that's less than $1 a day. You'd be saving babies all year long. And we would welcome you at any of those levels, above them, below them, in between. We're just standing by for your call or you online. So 833-850-2229 online. Go to am630theword.com, making a difference for girls, for women, for men also. We'll get to that in a second. For babies, saving babies. Every year we do this at this time of year. We save babies by providing ultrasounds with preborn. And so there are babies alive today because of what we did together last year. And next year, there will be babies alive because of what we do together today.
Amen.
So we invite you to do it now because really when you provide that ultrasound, you're given the truth at the most important time in a young girl's life. You're being her friend by providing the ultrasound. And with no judgment. So when you do that, you double the likelihood she'll choose life. So nobody is having to convince anybody of anything, to do anything, or not to do anything. You simply provide the ultrasound, and it's so powerful, as you will hear in our hour together today.
Absolutely. And here's the cool thing about it, because I know you mentioned dads, and we're coming right up on Father's Day. And so many times the dad is kind of left out. It's not talked about in this particular situations very often, but dads do play an important role, not only in the conception, but also in the decision that needs to be made whenever this comes down to it. So speaking to dads today, look, let's not forget them, right?
Yeah. In fact, we were at a center just north of Dallas, a preborn center, with the married couple that runs it, that are the center directors, Aaron and Holly. And Aaron talked about it's not just women, it's also men that are ministered to and mentored there at that center.
I think about a 19-year-old African-American, strong, athletic football guy. I was called in to meet with him. His girlfriend was back having her appointment, and I took him in our room. We got all the Cowboys and Maverick stuff, and we're talking sports. And they start talking about, hey, so man, you're here, your girlfriend's pregnant, how are you feeling? And he was just talking about abortion, so casual, no big deal. And he just kept saying, up to 8 weeks, it's just nothing. I mean, and he just kept saying 8 weeks, 8 weeks, 8 weeks. And so I said, hey, man, where are you getting the 8 weeks thing? And he literally said, well, I'm not educated. It's just what I think. And I said, well, hey, man, let me give you some science on this, that, hey, by 8 weeks, and that child is fully developed, and that baby's sucking its thumb, and that baby, is hearing noises, and that baby's recoiling from pricking, meaning that it feels pain. And I mean, his eyes are getting real big. So we kind of kept on that, discussion for a couple minutes, and then there was a knock at the door, and the nurses came and said, hey, it's time for the, ultrasound. So we always want the guys to experience that as well, if possible. So I walked him down the room, and he goes into the ultrasound room. And so, we shook hands. I went to my office, and then about 15 minutes later, I get a call from the front desk, and they're like, hey, you need to come back out here. And I go back to the lobby, and here's this, again, 19-year-old, strong, athletic football player, and he's weeping in the lobby based on what he had just seen. And so he comes in, it's no big deal. And we have our discussion, and that kind of plants some seeds of, of what truth is. And he goes in on 3D, 4K, sees his baby, and he is just rocked. And they made a choice for life. And so those ultrasounds it's the difference between life and death.
Yeah, it really is. It really is the difference between life and death. It can be. So when you provide the ultrasound today, you give moms the truth, you give the dads the truth. And of course, one of the things we say again and again is provide the ultrasound, say a prayer, leave it there. God will do the rest. And so today, this is the day to do, as I mentioned before, the Bible tells us in Ephesians 2:10, for we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do. You see a theme there? To do. The doing is everything. And so today we're going to not just, shake our fist or curse the darkness. We're going to provide the light, be the light, shine the light that is shown when you provide that ultrasound. You provide the light that shows her the way, that gives her the truth at the most important time. So we're doing that today, 1 at a time, 2 at a time, 5 at a time, 10 at a time. If we're going to save 100 babies this afternoon, we need to save 10 babies in the next 10 minutes. That amount would be $280. Can help do that. Glenn in Stockdale earlier said, I want to help save 5.
Right on. Thank you, Glenn.
Glenn, thanks. I appreciate that. 833-850-2229. Also online at am630theword.com, am630theword.com.
And it bears repeating that preborn is not new to this. This is something they've been doing for over 2 decades. They've got all the infrastructure in place. They are on the front lines. They're helping ladies in these crisis situations that they find them in, whether they're teenagers or whether they're older ladies. But the pregnancy has rocked their world, and preborn steps in. What we're here to do today is to help them continue to do what they do. And like Scott was saying, a one-time gift of $28, or you can do $28 a month, and that's saving a baby for less than $1 a day. I mean, the return on investment, we always talk about ROI because that is a big deal. What kind of price can you put on a human life? Well, this is your opportunity to get involved and to help make sure preborn is able to continue to do what they are doing all across the state of Texas and all across the nation as well. So we're looking for our first person to make the phone ring here in this hour. We're like Scott said, we've got this hour blocked out, and we really want to make sure that you have every opportunity to call, to go online, use the QR code, and make sure that we help save babies right now. And it takes so little time, but the return on investment, again, is just incalculable. So here we go. The number again is 833-850-BABY, 833-850-2229. Go online, safe and secure at am630theword.com. Just look for the preborn little red ribbon banner at the very top of the page. Or as we're live streaming here, you can hit that QR code. However you do it, let's save some babies this afternoon on the Steve Marston Show.
You can watch the video stream of the show right now on X. Just search for Marston Show. Now, here's Steve.
All right, we are back here on this special edition of the Steve Marston Show, and we're thankful that you're listening, thankful that you're watching. Most of all, thank you that you are participating, help saving babies today with preborn. My buddy Scott is here with us, and we are taking this hour to really drive home the point that we need your help, that we need you to get involved to help preborn continue to provide ultrasounds for expectant mothers who find themselves rocked by pregnancy. You know, it's not always planned. Life doesn't always happen the way we think it will. And when these ladies are in this situation and they don't know which way is up and they're scared, preborn is the cure. They are the ones that will come alongside them and love on them, educate them, and give them every resource possible, including an ultrasound that you help provide to help make sure that they choose life. And here's the thing. When they are presented with all this evidence, especially the ultrasound, they are twice as likely to choose life. Scott, this is an exciting time because I mean, look, there are all kinds of great charities and great international ministries that we can partner together with, and they do amazing work. But man, I can't think of anything better than helping save babies.
If it were me, sometimes in my life I've thought, okay, if I have a little extra money I want to do something with, or maybe a monthly amount, I want to do a smaller amount over a longer period of time. What is the thing I'm looking for? What are the boxes that I would like to have checked? And no place probably can check all the boxes, but what are the boxes that are important to me? Number one, efficiency. The money that I give, how much of it actually goes to the cause? If I decide to do it, how much of it goes to the cause? At Preborn, 100% of what you give goes directly to providing ultrasounds. We separately fundraise for administrative and overhead costs so that when we come to you on the radio, 100% of your gift, whether it's $2,800 or $28 or $15,000, 100% goes. So efficiency, yes, check that box. Secondly, I like things that actually, I know it sounds kind of morose, but are life and death. Saving someone's life. If my money could save someone's life, that's a pretty big deal. Yes, check for that. What about a gospel element? It's one thing if we do something that's good and we feed people that are hungry, but they grow up without the Lord, or we, clothe them and they never hear the gospel, or we build them a cinder block house or dig them a well or purify their water, but never tell them about Jesus. It's incomplete, to say the least. So the gospel element, absolutely. And what about this? Not just taking care of them at that moment. What about beyond that moment? In the case of a girl that's pregnant, okay, so you helped her know that it's a baby, but what now? I mean, all her people may have wanted her to do something else. Her community essentially needs to be rebuilt. How are you going to help her make motherhood possible? Check that box too, because as you alluded to, it's not just that one moment choosing life. I mean, it's more than that. It is free services like free maternity clothes and baby clothes, diapers, strollers, cribs, formula, parenting classes, baby wipes, counseling, all with no judgment. So all those things that you would want checked. And also, is it affordable? I mean, can I make a big impact for a little amount of money? Because I don't have lots and lots of money. The answer is yes. So every one of those boxes is checked for Preborn. And have they been around a long time? How are they viewed by Charity Navigator, for example, the third-party objective observer of nonprofits, ministries, and charities and NGOs? 4-star rating, 100% on transparency. Very rare to find that. You find that with Preborn. And if people that come and they participate, whether they're a paid person or certainly volunteers, are they around a long time? Let me let you hear from Teresa. Teresa is a 20-plus year center director, and she's been around, has wonderful stories.
Anna, she was a mom already of a 1-year-old beautiful baby girl, and she recently found she was pregnant again, unexpected. And when she told her boyfriend that she was pregnant again, he told her that he didn't want the baby, but even more than that, he didn't want to be with her or their child. So she came to us from this place of complete rejection and brokenness. She had been raised in a Christian home, and she had a grandmother that she said she remembered talking about Psalm 139, that God sees your unformed body and all the days are ordained. And she even said, I don't want to hear anything like that. I've heard that, but so her anger was at God too. Like she didn't even want to hear anything positive. All she could see was her own pain. And when I talked to her and I said, those verses are for you too. God saw your unformed body, his first glimpse of you when you were in your mother's womb, and he's never taken his eyes off of you since then. He sees you now. He sees what you're going through. He sees everything, and he sees your heart. And something in her broke at that moment, and she began weeping. And she was able to see that her anger against God was not right, that he was her helper. And so she decided to continue the pregnancy. We were able to help her. Months into the pregnancy, her boyfriend came back and asked for her forgiveness and said he did love her and he wanted to be a dad to his children and a husband to her. and they got married, and we were able to plug them into a church where they could be nurtured and mentored to eventually get married. And last I heard, they were raising their 2 beautiful daughters, married and in a church, pursuing their faith.
You can make a difference like that today by providing an ultrasound. It's a very easy thing to do. You know, it goes into the hands of faithful workers who are there on the ground in our 280 plus preborn affiliate centers across America. And it's in those centers that last year, more than 10,000 first-time commitments to Christ, more than 10,000 people who had souls bound for a Christless eternity in hell will be with the Lord and with loved ones who also believe the same someday. You can make a difference for time, yes. Saving babies, yes. But also saving moms from perhaps a lifetime of pain and sorrow and regret, saving dads from the same, saving babies, but also beyond the moment, saving souls. So saving babies and saving souls is what Preborn is all about. Been doing it now for 20 years. It's our 20th year doing this. If you've never done it before, what a great way to start right now to provide ultrasounds. If you have done it before, you know it's a great thing. So join us saving babies again today.
It's a beautiful thing, and we need your help. Let's go. Here's the number: 833-850-BABY, 833-850-2229. Take you just a couple of minutes. You want to get even faster? Okay, go online to am630theword.com and click the Preborn banner. Or if you're watching on the live stream, click the QR code. We're saving babies. Come on back. More of the Steve Marston Show next.
Discipleship has never been more fun. Back to the Steve Marston Show.
Yeah, welcome back. We are glad that you're here. It's a day to do with our friends at Preborn. Our buddy Scott is here, and we're talking about how you and I can help save babies with Preborn. And want you to take down this number really fast, 833-850-2229. I'll say it again a little slower, 833-850-2229. Or you can click the Preborn banner at am630theword.com or look for the red ribbon. When you get there, look for that red ribbon banner. And then if you're watching on the live stream, which we've got a handful of people doing right now, you can click the QR code that you're seeing just below me and Scott on the video presentation. So please, let's help save some babies here today because, Scott, we talked about time is of the essence. Today's going to be the last day where we really stop down and really focus on Preborn. So if you've been one of those people who said, yeah, I want to do that, it's been rattling around in your brain, here's the time. Now's your time.
It is. And today, we always say day 2 is the day that we really turn it up. I mean, you learned something yesterday, hopefully maybe a little bit of education or motivation. But then it all really comes down to participation. You know, it's all about what we decide to do. One of our sayings is the doing is the proof, the feeling is real. You know, if somebody, you know, God so loved the world that he did something. I mean, his love for us bubbled up beyond feelings into action. The Good Samaritan is remembered for what he did, not for how he felt, but for what he did. And Jesus told us at the end of that story, go and do likewise. Doing. It's about the doing. And so today we're doing that. And we invite you to call now at 833-850-2229 or online at am630theword.com. Although also there is a comments section. If you do it online, you can just if you have a story you want to tell, do it in somebody's name or somebody's memory. We've had people, tell a story. If only this had been the case 25 years ago, if somebody had provided this for me, I would have chosen differently. So please accept this gift in my baby's memory, my baby in heaven, in her memory. And so if you have a story to tell, that's fine too. You don't have to. But then also you might want to remain anonymous. Sometimes people just for whatever reason want to remain anonymous. Maybe if a unique name in a small town and lots of your friends listen to the radio station and the devil would say, hey, don't do that. They might say your name. We're not going to say your name. You want to remain anonymous, just say anonymous. We'll honor that. Won't say your gender. We won't say what you're doing. Won't say your city or anything else. Just say, hey, you know who you are. Thank you. Thank you. Just as preborn centers are safe places for girls and women who are trying to figure out what to do, just as they are safe places for them to go, this is a safe place for you to give.
Amen. To
make that possible for them. We told you about Aaron and Holly, center directors just north of Dallas at a preborn center. I'm going to let you hear now from Holly.
A little did any of us know.
They've got culture in their ears.
I'm sorry. I thought I had the right thing for you, and I did not. Let me do a retake. We can edit all this out in post.
Steve. Of course.
This again is Holly, a preborn center director just north of Dallas.
We had a young woman. She came in, and she did not even want the ultrasound. She said, no, I don't want an ultrasound. I just want to see if I'm pregnant or not. So we gave her the pregnancy test. It showed positive. And she just said, no, I'm not going to have an ultrasound. We were sad because we thought, man, if she could just see that child. Well, to our surprise, she came back a week later and she said, okay, I do want an ultrasound because twins run in the family. And I just need to find out, in her words, if I'm killing one child or two, and kind of shocking us. And so she's preparing herself for the ultrasound. The nurse, the advocate, they're there in the room, and the ultrasound begins. And sure enough, not only do we see one child, we see two. And her advocate is seeing these two babies with the nurse. And now she's getting a little nervous, a little fidgety. So to calm herself, she didn't even realize it, but she starts humming a song. And she starts humming the song Jireh. And she's humming it. And then the patient says to her advocate, she goes, hold on, are you humming the song Jireh? And she goes, well, yeah, I am. How do you know that song? And she said, my aunt passed away last week, and she wanted that song played at her funeral. And so they had this kind of crazy moment. And so the advocate says to her during the ultrasound, as they are looking at these two babies, she said, well, do you know what the name Jireh means? And she said, I can't remember. What is it? And she goes, it's God will provide. And she goes, that's right. Because she did have Christian upbringing. And she said, yes, Jehovah Jireh, God, my provider. And the advocate said, don't you think that the Lord is trying to tell you something? That he will provide for you and these two babies. You can do this. And so she thought about it. And she's like, I'm not going to move forward right now with an abortion, but I'm just going to think about it. She came back again 1 more week later, now with her boyfriend. They see these babies on the screen and they're like, okay, God will provide. Jehovah Jireh. A little did any of us know that a few weeks before all of that had happened, a donor of ours gave us the keys to a car, a larger SUV, and said, we want to give this to any patient that the Lord reveals to you all that needs it. And so we're sitting with them after their appointment, both the boyfriend and the girl. And they're like, well, she said, I already have a 2-year-old and now I've got twins. And she said, I have a tiny little car. How on earth? She said, that's my biggest pain point right now. How am I going to fit 3 babies in a car? And Aaron gets up, he walks over to a drawer and he pulls out some keys and he said, do you remember that song, Jireh? And they're like, yes. And he hands the keys to the girlfriend and he says, Jehovah Jireh has provided. And he said, just before you even came here, the Lord was providing for this car.
Today, you can be a provider too. You can provide those ultrasounds. It starts the whole process. You know, it is not the end. It is the beginning, as we mentioned. It's a community building thing. It is a 2-year-long, 3-year-long mentorship if you want to do that. You know, Father's Day is Sunday. And maybe you would say, hey, you know what, I'm going to do this in my dad's name.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it in my, my granddad's name, or maybe whatever the reason is. Or if you're a dad, maybe you want to provide as many ultrasounds as you have children or grandchildren. Or, if you're a mom, maybe he has all the things. He's got the golf clubs. He's got the smoker. He's got all the things that he wants, or most of the things he wants, certainly all the things maybe that he needs. And you could say, we saved some babies in your name. And if give them on the card, say, I helped save 10 babies for $280 and we did it in your name. You can do that too. Put that in the comments section. Say, I'm going to do it in my dad's name, my granddad's name, or maybe your dad isn't around anymore. You would do it in his memory. That'd be fine too. 833-850-2229 is the number. 833-850-2229. Also online, you go to am630theword.com.
Absolutely. And here's the thing too. I know that there's somebody listening all throughout Central Texas, and you may have a business that's just thriving right now, despite some of the economic challenges that we've had. And you think, well, I'd like to get involved at maybe a little bit different level. Well, listen to this. Maybe try this on for size. If you could make a donation for $15,000, that would provide an ultrasound machine. And then you talk about being able to provide information to save babies. There's no telling how many lives will be saved with a brand spanking new ultrasound machine. And again, I know that's not Scott. That's certainly not me. And it's probably not you. However, somebody may be listening, somebody may be watching, thinking, you know what? We can do that. And maybe it's something that's a part of your trust or a foundation that you would like to get involved to really make sure the money goes to a great cause. Well, listen, I can't think of a better one than Preborn, Scott.
You mentioned trust. There was several years ago we had, and we try and be, one of our little sayings is, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And so when we see that someone is given something, we want to make sure, okay, let's make sure that that's managed right. And so we got a gift. I think it was from Lubbock, Texas. And we weren't on the air in Lubbock, Texas with any radio show. That was the days really before podcasts were so crazy popular, or before Preborn was on podcasts. And so we somehow got the guy's phone number, went back through preborn. They have all the information. Said, we just want to make sure that this is attributed correctly. And so I just had two questions. We got hold of the guy and said, hey, hi, this is Scott. I'm with preborn. I noticed a $15,000 gift for an ultrasound machine. We always want to make sure that we are doing our due diligence to make sure that, we manage these things well. So if you don't mind telling me, where did you hear about this? What radio station were you listening to? And the guy said, I wasn't listening to any radio station. And we thought, okay, that's kind of odd. Well, okay. Reason we asked, and he said, oh, you know what it is? He said, I manage a trust for a family, and the family lives in, and he named the city. And we had just been on the radio in that city. And so he just got a phone call from the family that said, write a check for $15,000 to provide an ultrasound machine and save thousands of babies for years and years to come. And so, whether you're going to get $5,000 or $1,000 or $28 to help save one baby, that $15,000, like you said, I mean, I couldn't do it. You couldn't do it, but somebody can. And maybe that's you. And so we don't want to, put all our eggs in that basket, but we do want to make sure that we say it and
Absolutely.
let God decide who's going to hear it. And so that number is the same. It's 833-850-2229, 833-850-2229, or online. You'll just go to am630theword.com. Listen to the impact you're going to make when you provide an ultrasound today.
When I first thought that I was pregnant, I was having a lot of issues at work. So it really was not a great time to be pregnant, if you will. And it wasn't planned, and I wasn't married, and I was terrified. And I didn't know what to do, So the first things at that point in my life, I was like, what am I going to do as a child? I was 24, I think. And I didn't know what I was going to do with the baby. At that time, my dad was in jail, actually, and he was coming off of being on drugs most of my life. I was trying to get ready for him to come home and help him stay clean. And that was like my main focus was work and my father. So now I got a baby on the way. I was thinking about getting an abortion. I mean, I was devastated. I didn't know how to deal with not keeping a child. Let alone, I wasn't even ready for one. I was just an emotional wreck. And eventually I made an appointment with her, and I came in and I had an ultrasound. And when I came in and I heard the heartbeat for the first time, that changed everything. When you don't think about anything like that, you're only really thinking about yourself until you hear that heartbeat. And then you know that's somebody else's life, So, when I heard her heartbeat, I decided to keep her. And now my daughter's about to be 3. When I got to hear how strong her heartbeat was, I was like, I felt like she was supposed to be here. And it didn't matter what anybody else told me. It didn't matter if, people were like, well, you can't afford a baby right now. What are you going to do with the child? And none of that mattered anymore. You know what I'm saying? All that mattered was that I was blessed with the ability to carry a life inside of my body. And that baby was supposed to be here for something. To me, the ultrasound was the best part, because up until that point, I did not think about anything but myself. I did not think about the blessing that I was given and what was inside of me. You know what I'm saying? So to me, that was perfect. Going through the whole process was beautiful, and I had to go pretty much to everything by myself, but it was still amazing because I wasn't by myself. I still had someone with me all the time. On top of God, I have a child, I don't know where my life would be without her. And if I could ever tell anybody to, think again, or maybe, if you don't know where the money is going to come from, because in the midst of all of that, I ended up losing my job. So I had no money coming in. And my unemployment stopped a week before I had her, I think. So I had no money, literally. By the grace of God, I got a room full of furniture. I have stuff that I've gotten at the baby shower that I still have to this day at 3 years old. Blessings come from kids being here. And you'd be surprised what will happen in the way the doors that God will swing open for you if you just let him do his thing, Like for me, I got to hear how strong that heartbeat was and how solid it was and how immovable it was. Like there was nothing I could do to make that not happen unless I went against God's will, will for me.
Who do you think threw her that baby shower? I mean, who do you think was her community? It was the preborn folks.
Absolutely.
And so as we've said before, it's not just that one moment in time where a girl chooses life. That's important, no question. But it's actually bigger than that. It's more than that. Because at some point she's going to wonder, and she's right to wonder, what do I do now? I mean, I thought it was a clump of cells. I didn't know it was a baby. And now I know it's a baby and I'm going to choose life. But what now? I don't know anything about how I take care of my body. I don't have maternity clothes. Okay, this is where preborn comes in beyond that moment. But it all begins with the moment that you provide the ultrasound today. And so we invite you to do it. It's easy to do. It's our last day together to do this. So yesterday, you heard about it and thought about it, but today we do something about it. So turn all that thinking, all that good intention into action today when you call 833-850-2229 or go online. You'll see where to click when you go to am630theword.com.
I just love what you said there, being able to take that intention and turn it into action, because so often we get distracted by life and by good things. But when we hear God speaking to us about a certain topic, about a certain issue, it's so important, no matter what he's telling us, to not crowd that voice out and not allow it to be taken over by different circumstances and everything. So if you've been listening and you've been hearing us talk about this and it's still in your mind, I'm saying, again, not trying to twist your arm, but I'm thinking that's probably God kind of nudging you a little bit. The hardest step is to actually just go online or pick up your phone. But God is faithful. Just like with that story we just heard, how can I make sure I can do $28 a month or a one-time gift of $1,000 or whatever the number is that God's laid on your heart? Trust him. He can do it, just like he did with that lady in that story. So powerful. It is your time now. 833-850-BABY, 833-850-2229, or online you can give at am630theword.com.
Discipleship has never been more fun. Back to the Steve Marston Show.
All right, we've got 16 minutes left here in the Steve Marston Show. Now, this number I'm going to give you is not a number for you to call in and win a resource. No, this is actually a number for you to call in and help save a baby's life. How's that for a powerful set of digits? 833-850-BABY, 833-850-2229, or go online to am630theword.com. Look for the red little banner that says preborn at the very top of the page. You can click that. And those of you that are watching, still got a lot of folks watching online. You can use the QR code that's right there below me and Scott's picture, and you can make your donation there. However you choose, we've tried to make it as efficient and streamlined as possible so that we can continue to help preborn do what they do, and that is stand in the gap, partner alongside these mothers who find themselves in a pregnancy that they weren't expecting, and not just, as Scott has said so many times and so eloquently over and over this hour, not just show them an ultrasound and then say, okay, see you later. Thanks for stopping by. No, that's just the beginning. They're there throughout the entire pregnancy. Really, as long as the mom still wants to be a part of preborn will be there for them, right, Scott?
No, it's true. And we can have a couple of guys continue to tell you about the power of the ultrasound and what it's going to do. But there's really nothing like when you hear from a girl who was on her way to do one thing, as you just heard. And then she meets her baby in the ultrasound, and all of a sudden everything changes. I think a lot of times we think of the sort of the proverbial 16 or 17-year-old girl. She's in high school, unmarried, father of the baby is not really in her life anymore, and she's pregnant, doesn't know what to do. Sometimes that's the case, but sometimes it's different from that, like was the case for Jules. Listen to the impact you're going to make today.
Hi, my name is Jules, and I'm going to share my story with you. Just a quick background. I'm 26. My husband Kyle is 32. We have a 4-year-old little boy named Aiden. He's wonderful, adventurous, and very strong-willed. And after we had Aiden, we decided that it was one and done. We're going to be a family of 3, and that was going to be enough for us. So I got pregnant. And we were financially struggling. We were paycheck to paycheck. Kyle's job was just taking off. I was finishing school. Everything pointed to not having a baby. And I ultimately decided that I wanted an abortion. Sounds weird when you say it out loud. That's when I found Life Care. I remember showing up, and it was just so warm and inviting, and everyone was so nice. And I kept thinking, how can everyone be this nice? They asked if I wanted an ultrasound so that they could show me and possibly guess how far along that we were. And when she put the gel on me, and then she put the little stick thing on my tummy, and I saw her. This little alien thing, this little thing my husband and I made out of pure, intense love. That was the moment that I knew that I loved someone so much that I had never even met. That was the moment that my choice was made for me. I think my husband knew by the look on my face after I saw her on the monitor that we were going to be a parent of 2 children. How that all worked and changed my life. I've never been so happy. We're a family of 4, and I just wanted to say thank you. Hello, beautiful. Hello, beautiful. Oh, goodness. One of the best things that have ever happened to me right here in my arms. Thanks again for listening to us.
Today, you can provide the ultrasound that will have that impact. for a girl, whether she's a girl that's married and this was just not part of their plan, or whether it's a girl that's unmarried, has no idea what to do. You can provide that truth at the most important time in her life. And we give you the chance to do it today. We're excited to do it. It's our last day together, and we don't want you to miss the blessing. We want everybody to be able to say tonight, when we put our heads on the pillow, that we did something. We didn't just think about it. We did something to make a difference.
Yeah,
to stand for life.
Because I don't think you can put a price tag on that feeling either, right? When you take that step of action versus just thinking, yeah, boy, I would love to do that. I support what Preborn is doing, philosophically and spiritually and all of that. But when you actually take the step to do it, and maybe you just provide one ultrasound at $28, or maybe you do an ultrasound a month for $28 per month, or maybe it's, $150 or whatever the number. That's really not as important as you just being faithful to what God has laid on your heart to be able to do in this time. And then that's when the blessing kicks in. You're going to go, yeah, I've done something today. I feel good about myself because I let God lead and I followed and trusted him.
There's an old saying. It's saying by Sir Edmund Burke. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good people to do nothing. It doesn't take you and me taking the other side. We don't have to go out and take that other side in order for that side to prevail. We simply do nothing. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good people to do nothing. When we do nothing, that silence actually is our vote. We are the absence of the positive is the presence of the negative. I believe the truth can beat a lie if the truth can be heard. And today you have the chance to share that truth with a girl in the form of an ultrasound, make the introduction of her to her baby for the first time. Give her the best picture she's ever going to have of her baby is what you're going to provide today. The best picture, because without that first picture, there might not be any other pictures in the future. And so you can do it today. It's our last day together. I hope you pick up the phone or go online and join us saving babies with Preborn.
Yeah, we got like 8.5 minutes or so left before we have to say goodbye. So please, right now, make it happen. You've heard all the stories all day long, all hour long. You felt moved as I have listening to them. Well, now let's put some action to it. 833-850-BABY or am630theword.com. Make your best gift right now. It's more of the Steve Marston Show next.
The Steve Marston Show is back.
Yeah, we are closing out today's program. Scott is here with me from Preborn, and we've taken today as a special day to just ask you to hear the stories, to see the need, to help continue what Preborn does. So, my favorite stat of all of the things that we've been talking about is the fact that when a mom sees that ultrasound, she's twice as likely to choose life. That's just, those are good odds. I love that, Scott.
Yeah, if I were to tell you that there's an 83% chance you'll win the lottery if you buy that ticket, setting aside thoughts about the lottery and all that, but those are great odds, and that's the thing. More than 83% of the time, it will result in a choice for life when all you have to do is provide the ultrasound. So Preborn's been doing it for a long, long time. This phone number will be alive beyond the next few minutes. So you can do it later today or do it tomorrow if you'd like. And online, you can go to am630theword.com and handle it all very quickly online. We're woefully behind where we would like to be, just to be transparent. I know that's an overused word, but just to be completely transparent, we want to give you the opportunity to join us. And we don't want you to miss the blessing. I mean, we're really serious about that. When I say, I don't want you to miss the blessing, I really mean it. I mean, when I was on that side of the microphone in a Go Times, and I had the chance to talk about something like this, I would say, hey, what kind of friend would I be if I didn't give you the opportunity to do this wonderful thing with us? I mean, this is a great thing to be able to do, to know that you're making a difference for time, for eternity. And so I hope you'll join us now in doing it. It's the devil's tricky, and the devil might say to you, it's a good idea. You probably should do it. You do even more than you're thinking, but, do it later.
Yeah.
See, I think the devil, at least with me, if the devil can get me to delay, he can get me to be distracted. And then I get derailed and I miss the whole thing. I miss the blessing. So you can always do more later. If you want to do more later, you can do more later. But I would just say, pick up the phone now and call that number, 833-850-BABY is 833-850-2229, or you can go online at am630theword.com. You'll see where to click when you get there, and join us saving babies. Ultrasounds save babies.
They absolutely do.
And if we don't do it, it's not going to be done. So I hope you'll join us and be a part of saving babies again this year with Preborn.
And here's the thing. It's $28 for one ultrasound. And maybe times are tough, and you're trying to talk yourself out of it because I just can't afford a lot to be given away right now. Okay, we get that. One $28 gift, but maybe it's $28 a month, or maybe it's $1,000 or $150. Whatever the number is, it's not too small. Okay. Don't let the devil trick you into that either. Oh, that's not going to make a difference. Come on. They need big money. Listen, we need everybody doing whatever they can. So whatever God's laid on your heart, if he's been stirring you over the last 2 days, then please make the gift. It's 833-850-BABY, 833-850-2229. Online at am630theword.com. We're done for the day, but the phone number, the website will be active for 24/7. So make your gift as soon as possible. Scott, thanks so much. This has been a pleasure, man. I really have enjoyed it. Let's save some more babies.
Yep, my pleasure.